Today on r/today I effed up. Today I effed up by wearing a dress to work. Today I decided to wear a beautiful dress I thrifted with my mom last year. The dress itself has what I consider a mid-length skirt. It stops just above the knees. It flares out at the waist. Since it's summer here, and my coworkers have also started to wear mini skirts and dresses, I thought, why not? When I put it on in the morning, I considered putting on a pair of safety shorts underneath. Again, I thought it wasn't that short a dress, so I decided against it. Boy, was I going to regret it later. Throughout the day, I actually got so many compliments for my dress, needless to say I was chuffed. Now a little bit about my job. Since I'm the youngest in the office, I have to do lots of manual tasks. This includes collecting packages, picking things up, etc. Towards the end of the day, I had to bend over into a deep container to retrieve something. I was bending so much I nearly fell into the bin. I'm also super short, lol. I then felt a few light taps on my back from my manager, who asked, "Do you need some help?" I didn't know what was going on, so I just politely refused since I had found what I needed. I didn't think much of it then until hours later. Turns out that because of how flared my dress is, every time I bent over it would ride up my bum and I'd essentially flash my behind. I work in an open plan office, so this meant I flashed my behind, possibly several times that day, to everyone. The mid-length skirt became mini on my behind and I hadn't realized it. The post-dress clarity hit me hard. I texted my manager right away, who confirmed that they came over to help because my skirt had rode up so much. They were nice enough to tell me that it wasn't bad and that nobody saw anything, but I am tremendously embarrassed. Guess it's no skirts or dresses for a little while. For our next story. Today I fed up by wearing transparent pants to a business meeting. Yesterday I screwed up by wearing see-through pants to a business meeting. It was one of those mornings when everything that could go wrong went wrong. I had just arrived after an overnight flight for an important business trip with colleagues and was already exhausted. We were meeting with important clients in their city, and I was determined to make a great impression. I woke up late, spilled coffee on my shirt, and had to rush through my morning routine in the hotel. In my haste, I grabbed what I thought were my reliable black dress pants, only to find out later that they were not. Arriving at the client's office, I felt a bit uneasy. My coworkers were giving me strange looks, but I brushed it off as paranoia. The big meeting with the new clients was about to start, and I was the one presenting. I walked into the conference room, set up my laptop, and began my presentation, trying to ignore the odd expressions and hushed whispers around me. About halfway through my pitch, I noticed one of the clients whispering to my boss, who then discreetly glanced down at my lower half. Panic started to creep in. What was wrong? Had I missed a stain or something? I continued talking, trying to maintain my composure. Then it happened. One of my colleagues, with a look of sympathetic horror, slipped me a jacket and whispered, "You might want to cover up." Confused, I took the jacket and tied it around my waist, finishing the presentation while desperately wanting to know what was going on. After the meeting, I rushed to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. To my utter embarrassment, I realized that my pants, under the bright conference room lights, were completely transparent. My choice of brightly colored underwear that day made the situation even worse. I wanted to disappear into the floor. The clients were surprisingly understanding, and my boss tried to laugh it off, but the damage was done. I spent the rest of the day avoiding eye contact and praying for the ground to swallow me whole. Let's dive into our next story. Today, I effed up by buying a knock-off Lego set that my kids should not play with. I have kids. My kids and I enjoy playing with Legos. Well, they like playing. I just like building cool stuff. We've made a house, city, a zoo, etc. The other day, I was browsing on an app for cheap knockoffs, and because Legos are expensive, I often purchase the knockoff sets from said app. Of course, like all shopping apps, the algorithm shows me things I would be interested in, based on things I've looked at before, and on this day, it was showing me lots of cool block sets. There was a cool treehouse, a little cafe, a park, and an awesome vintage motorhome. You know the kind, 70s tan, brown, orange, and yellow. I loved it. I couldn't resist. I bought the not Lego motorhome and it was delivered today. I was so excited, and as soon as dinner was over, proceeded to build the motorhome with the help of one of my kids. Only one, because one is older now and doesn't often care to build anymore, and my youngest doesn't like the building part, just playing with the things that I build. So here I was, happily putting together my awesome vintage motorhome. I get the frame done, and then I start working on the inside. As I get further along, I notice that the inside of the motorhome does not look like a normal motorhome. There's no bed. No table and bench seats. No bathroom. There's a lot of jugs and crates and bottles though. Now I think it's important that I stop right here and explain something. I don't watch TV, I used to, but over the last decade I have had trouble being able to just sit and get into a show or movie. I'm aware of the popular shows, but I couldn't tell you any details about them. Like Game of Thrones, everybody would talk about it. I have a general idea what it's about, but I couldn't tell you any specific. Another show like this is Breaking Bad. Never saw it. I know it's about a drug dealer, but that's pretty much the extent of it. So back to tonight, I'm looking at this strange motorhome and thinking what the heck is wrong with this thing, and then I look at the box. The picture on app I ordered it from didn't show the box. Didn't mention anything about a TV show or anything that would be telling, and to be honest, I didn't really pay any attention to the box when I opened it. The box says Break Bad. That's when it hit me. Is this from that TV show Breaking Bad? Isn't that show about a drug dealer? No. Please tell me I did not buy my kids a Lego set from a show about drug dealers. So I Google Breaking Bad motorhome. I know my friends, if you watch the show, you no doubt know that it is so much worse than that. Google promptly displayed a picture of a 1986 Fleetwood Bounder that looked an awful lot like the one I have been building this evening, and I read the description. The awesome vintage motorhome that I just built for my kids is the RV from Breaking Bad, in which Walter White and Jesse Pinkman cooked methamphetamine. Yes, my friends, you read that right, I bought my kids a Lego meth lab. On to the next story. Today I effed by food poisoning myself twice on the same meal. Obligatory, this didn't happen today but previously. I bought myself some shrimp at the seafood counter, and that night made a nice teriyaki stir-fry with some veggies and rice. Since I made a few servings but live alone, I put the leftovers in the fridge for the next day. That night I felt a little stomach sick. It was just a mild nauseous feeling, no vomiting or diarrhea. So it was uncomfortable but not a huge deal. Only I wasn't sure if it was over the shrimp dish I ate or something I ate earlier in the day, or just some stomach bug, or just my digestive system being fussy as it sometimes is for no good reason. Being the scientifically minded sort, I decided it was best to investigate. I had posted on social media about the meal and feeling slightly sick and how I was going to eat the leftovers, and many friends told me that was dumb and that I should just throw them away to be safe. Obviously, these are not scientifically minded friends. Where would civilization be if no one had the curiosity to pursue scientific investigation? So, yeah. It was the shrimp dish. I was the sickest I had ever been after eating those leftovers out of both ends, with crippling stomach cramps. I was supposed to fly out to Key West for the weekend too and had to cancel. I lost out on one night's hotel cost for the cancellation but got the rest refunded, and flight credit for the flight I had to cancel. I spent the entire weekend miserable and only barely recovered for Monday work. Now, I did have one last serving of shrimp in the fridge. A less curious person would assume if you got sick twice after eating the same dish there was something wrong with the dish and you should definitely not eat it again. I, being a more curious person, knew that you couldn't rule out coincidence with 100% certainty, and to better verify that the shrimp was the culprit I should try it again. However, my less curious friends who heard of my plans insisted that I was an idiot, and that eating 4-day-old shrimp that had most likely food poisoned me twice already was beyond moronic. I reluctantly caved and threw it away, thus setting scientific progress back years probably. For our next story. Today I effed up by not reading the small text on a mouthwash and wasting €150 in the result. Essentially, I quickly bought a small travel-sized bottle of mouthwash at the train station, because I was in a hurry to get into a train to a very important meeting at a very expensive restaurant. It is really to get a table at that specific location, and we had booked it almost a year in advance. Anyways, while running towards the train, I squirted the content of the bottle into my mouth for a quick wash. Almost immediately I regretted the decision because the whole inside of my mouth was suddenly on fire. Tears ran down my face and it felt like gargling with acid. And even worse, I wasn't able to spit it anywhere, because I was still inside the entrance hall of the train station. My initial idea was to gargle it until I get into the train and spit into one of the bathroom sinks there. Now I had to find a trash can and basically vomit into that thing. Nice man in a nice suit pukes into a trash can of a nice train station. Nice. I thought that was it, and even caught my train in time. During the ride I pulled out the bottle and read, "Mouthwash concentrate. You're supposed to put 3 to 4 drops of this into a whole glass of water." But I squirted like 30 to 40 drops of it into my mouth and chemically etched my tongue in the process. At the restaurant, we all ordered the same thing of the menu, a 5-course dish for €150. Everyone seemed to really enjoy the extraordinary flavors and compositions of the ingredients. I wasn't able to taste anything at all, except for the texture. One day later, I went to the doctor, and oh wonder, the mouthwash was so highly concentrated, and for so long in my mouth, that I won't be able to taste anything at all for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Our last story for today. Today I effed up by forgetting I bought a new TV. Why? Obligatory not today, but I just turned on my TV and it made me chuckle remembering. I got my last bedroom TV in like 2016. Since it's been pointed out, my brain has confused years. That should say 2012-ish. Before smart TVs, or at least before they became accessible to me, I had a Roku stick for it, and hence utilized 2 remote controls to operate it. Last summer my son wanted a new Xbox, and since his one was still good for the cozy games I sometimes play, I said why not keep it for my bedroom and get myself a new TV while I'm at it. So I got a Roku TV toy. Cheap, did what I needed it to. Much bigger than my old one, great for my eyes. 1-unit remote that looked just like my Roku stick remote. So I used it for a while, Xbox and streaming, then like I do, I fell out of TV and games mode for a while. Gotta rotate those special interests, you know. Well, after a few weeks I went to turn my TV on and could not find my TV remote. There's the Roku remote but no TV remote. Ugh. Oh well. This cycled a few times, I'd sporadically want to use the TV, no remote, etc. Several months went by and I'm staring at the Roku remote one day, wondering where the TV remote could have possibly gone. When it dawned on me, I only have one remote now. And those are all the stories we have for today. See you tomorrow.